Atlanta and New York. So and then sometimes in LA was the best because that's where all the all the boys are. So all the polys and stuff.
Oh, in LA.
Yeah. So every time we went to LA, it was like, oh shucks, we got to connect with some people that can't look the same, man. Yeah. It's like, oh, what's up, bro?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. So it was like that, man. So, but then in Atlanta, it was like there was no. It's just you're hanging with the the blacks and whoever and same as New York. It was just because I thought I used to roll around thinking I was black and I remember somebody goes I remember I used to train, so I used to run around in New York and I was running one time and this guy was running past this guy and he was like, man, that's a big ass Mexican. And I was like, bro, hell no, I'm a Mexican, bro. So, and then sometimes, but yeah, bro, they used to be funny. We used to sometimes you get carried away with the N-word. I know you're not meant to use it, but sometimes
it's just normal. It's just like saying bro.
Well, when I was there, bro, I got the pass. Man, they were like, yeah, hey, that's cool.
But were you one of those guys when you go back home you started speaking like an American?
Nah, not me, bro. Nah, I always stayed strong with even when I was there, because when I first got there, sometimes you had to change it because they didn't understand your accent. So, like, when you're saying I'm hard, let's get, yeah, bro, hard. And then they used to be like, hard. Like, oh, hard. Yeah. Oh, he said hard. He meant hard, bro. So then sometimes I had to go, oh man, that's hard. You have to say it just so that they get it, man, or else they keep asking you over and over, what was that? Yeah, man, so, but the lingo's, But nah, bro, I always try to stay strong, man. The way you can get away with your accent over there is, there's certain words that doesn't matter what accent it's said in, they understand it. So I'd always just say, I wouldn't say too much. Like even F off wasn't normal over there. Yeah, they're like, what? What is that, like a swear word?
They say it all the time, me.
Yeah, and then they used to, bro, just to mock. They used to say it, They used to just go, fuck off. And then just be like, what? I was like, bro, and they go, nah, bro, I love that. I'm gonna start saying that now. Yo, feed. They didn't say feed, because I used to go, man, bro, let's go get a feed. And they used to be like, what's that, man? And I said, bro, let's go get a munch. Go get something to eat, bro. And they go, oh, something to eat. And they go, oh, yeah, feed. Let's go get a feed, boys. Yeah, but now, wow.
No, that's just the inspiration, like going overseas, bro. Like, the places you said you've been to, bro. When you hear Polynesians, bro, like Bali's big to us, Yeah. Thailand's big to us, but going to like States and stuff, but that's on a whole nother level. That's sort of like, to a Polynesian, in my point of view, is like when you get to the States, bro, you've made it, bro.
That's why I went, bro.
You made it, bro. You've made it,
When I had I had been going through my own stuff. I think it was 2006, 7. Like I was ready to give up the whole music and move here. 2006, I wanted to move to Australia. I had plans to meet up with my brother and some of his boys. It was more to do with like illegal stuff, but that's why I was gonna move here, because it was an opportunity. Nah, music wasn't making me the money, so I wanted to try and make some money, bro. And my mind was made up. I told my wife, because my oldest was born in 2007, so she was still pregnant, and I said we're gonna start a new life in Australia, and she was all good with that. She didn't know my intentions, but I said, man, I really need to go. And then my mind was made up 100%. I was going, and then, bro, we had a meeting. I went to Sav's house, and then everyone was there. And usually Mariko and Sav are the ones that go to the States. Yeah. So we went to this meeting, and then Sav hit me with the, so, the swing's blown up again. Mariko's got to stay here and do the studio and stuff. And he goes, and I want you to come with me to the States. And I was like, to the States. And I was like, wow. Because I truly had I had it all done, bro.
Yeah.
My mind was made up. I was going to Australia. And so, yeah, when he told me that was probably the only thing that would ever make me want to go, would stop me from doing that.
Why is that? Because you felt like if you go to the States, or has that always been like
it's just a dream, man. It's a dream come true for me. It's like going to the States, especially if you do hip hop. Yeah. It's like going to New York is like the Mecca. It's like, you know, that's where you know, America in general, bro, you know, you got to go and visit these sites. You have to go there and, you know, and not only was I going there for, it's not a holiday, it was actually going there to have a shop. Yeah. So for me, Sav had been going back and forth, bro. Sav had been doing this. For me, it was my first time. So, bro, I'm like a little kid, bro. I'm like, bro, I'm going to have a think about it. And he's like, bro, yeah, have a think about it. Because I said, man, I was really planning on leaving. I was going to Australia. And he knew it too. I already talked to him. I told him, bro, I'm going to Australia. So when he told me, he was like, he knew that it's up to you, bro. Like, you make the choice. Yeah, and I thought about it, man. So Australia had to wait for another 6 years, and yeah, went to the States.
I think it's just something about the States, eh? Like for me, if I was to get there, it's always been a dream of mine. I don't know, but I reckon if I was to get to the airport, bro, I might kiss the ground, bro, or cry or something. Because you know, you always see it on TV and that, eh? Yeah. And you always think like the States is where dreams are made of. But like what you're saying, New York is like
the Mecca, yeah. Well, that's, yeah, man, that was it for me. Like, even when I got there, it was still kind of surreal. Because, you know, it's not only like I'm going there just for the sake of going to America. Like, Sav's song is #1. Yeah. And, you know, he's made a big impression over there. Yeah. You know, he's #1 in different cities. So it was like, hey, we did the show where all of these radio stations, they have this big event where they have, you know, big artists come to their parties and stuff. And so it was Pitbull, Kerry Hilson, there's some other.
But so you met them artists?
Yeah, we met Pitbull in that. Yeah. I think Pitbull's done the remix to one of Sav's songs. Yeah, he has.
But and you know when you think about big artists like that, you think, oh, they must have like something different than us, or must just be like just totally different human being. But when you met them, they're just normal.
They're humble as, yeah. I'm not saying every single artist is humble, but most of the ones that we've met are genuine as, they're humble as. Like, and that was the thing. We went and like Sav only had swing, so we came out and performed and we thought, oh man, but bro, the crowd knew the song. I was like, hey, shucks, swing, you know? And I was like, man, the crowd was into it, and it was massive, bro. I wouldn't say like the whole, you know, 40,000-50,000 was, or you know, it was a massive arena. It was the San Antonio Spurs stadium, but they turned it into a venue, and so you know, that thing was packed. But when we performed, it was like probably like a whole front row. I'd say about, you know, a few thousand people were getting into it. So that's, I was like, fuck, I didn't even think they were gonna do that.
Yeah, just the fact you're in another country, eh?
Yeah, those are buzzy moments that when you're like, man, you appreciate why you're there, and you just gotta soak it in.
And you would have been in your zone, eh? Just been vibing.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I could have, the way I am, I'm usually like, you know, just being humble and not really trying to get into other people's space. I probably could have been more like, hey man, you know, going up to people and being like, bro, it's photos. So I could have documented a lot more stuff. But, you know, it was more like just kicking back and like, you know, just saying what's up. Man, I didn't even have, it's probably my only downfall was just the photos and stuff. Yeah. I didn't have much, but it's different now, you know, like with music. Yeah. You know, that's something you want to tick off the list, but I mean, I think these days you can make the same impact from your living room or just from.
Yeah, but that's it, bro. Technology, and that's crazy these days. It's so easy to get it out there. That's why these days, like you were saying, but you got to, like from 2015 onwards. A bit before 2015, like business-wise, but you gotta change up your whole structure and that now. Look at that differently.
Yeah.
Bro, let's start from where we all started then. Yeah.
Because
Because he'll be able to edit all that stuff into it.
Okay.
So man, we just want to welcome Daniel, but also known as Frisco from the OG rap group Decepticons. Man, I know you've been through a lot in your career, but I know that your main achievement would be that the man took out the first ever 4-week victorious competition. Let's just tell a little story how I met this guy. So whenever we started victorious, we ran our first ever 4-week challenge. This guy ended up joining and he actually ended up winning it. Bro, I know that's your biggest achievement to date. But I remember when you first started, bro. Me and my brother, we started victorious, and he came, and my brother first week he was going, bro, Daniel, he looks familiar, eh? I was like, bro, I don't know who he is. And then my brother ended up doing some research on your Facebook, and he was like, man, I knew that was the guy from Decepticons. So that's just a little story how we met. We met through victorious, and yeah, man, we just wanna know a little bit about your journey, and you know, no matter what. Like, to us, you were a massive success, like, growing up, I listened to your music and whatnot. But, like, no matter what, in business or whatever dream you pursue, bro, there's always those challenges, and, you know, what you see in the bright lights may not actually be what is going on behind the scenes. You know, a lot of hard work goes into it, and, man, we just want to, you know, where did it all start?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for that.
You weren't expecting that one, eh?
Yeah, for that intro. Nah, but what I'm saying is, man, I always have respect for you from when you started victorious, because from your very first humble days,
yeah.
And just to see where it's at now, bro, it's awesome. So you know, that's a big achievement in itself. But yeah, that's a long time ago.
I still got the interview. We interviewed him, yeah. You'll see on this podcast. We'll check it on.
How I met Marco. So we were at school and we had a fire drill, and so one of my mates was in his tutor class. I used to rap, and then but I already knew Marco was the man.
So what was this? Was this in high school?
High school, yeah. Popcorn High, yeah. So yeah, Marco was already well known for rapping in the school, and I just started doing these battle raps. So my mate told him, hey, my mate raps, and then he goes, oh, yeah, tell your mate to come. And it was a fire drill, so all the classes had to come down. Yeah. So that's where, yeah, then he called me over, so I was like, oh, well, it's time to rip this dude up. And so, yeah, I went over, and yeah, I remember at the time, Marco was doing all these kind of big word raps, where a lot of the rhymes were just going over the top of people's heads. And I was just doing the, man, I'll knock you out like David Tool. I was just doing those ones, like just real basic, but straight to the point. And I think I had 2 raps. He did 2 raps, and then, man, in my eyes, man, shucks, bro, I was ahead. And then the bell rang, and he was about to do another one. But I had no more rhymes left. I had 2 raps. That was it. And lucky the bell rang, and then, bro, I was, in my head, I was like, bro, I reckon I schooled this dude. And then, yeah, he just goes, bro, not too bad, bro. And I was like, bro, nah, bro, yeah, shot for the opportunity. And he goes, bro, I reckon, because there was a few other rappers in the school. And he just goes, bro, you might just be the second best rapper in the school. He goes, there's a few, but you might just be the second best. And I was thinking, bro, I reckon I sashed you in this. I'm the best. But yeah, but it's funny because then the next day, bro, he called over for another rap battle, and this time it was just a bunch of boys, and bro, yeah, just ripped me up. So that's when I still try to come with the same raps. He had another one ready. So yeah, but that's how it all started. With after that, you know, we started doing demos together, and then Volo was really. Oh,
so it started with you 2 first.
That's my introduction into it.
Yeah.
I think Sav and so Marco and Devolo were always doing demos. Okay, yeah. Marco and Sav are cousins. They done a rap years before, but then it stopped. And I think when I came into it started being like, maybe there can be a group. So then that's when, we started being an actual group. And then even with Sav, I had never really met him. I knew he was the other decon, but I never met him. And so the first time I met Sav was at the Dawn Raid Southside Story release party. That was with Eddie's and Monarch. There's a few other artists, Live, and they were on it was at Otara and Omac. They had an album release party, and then I went there. I was still in school, and I went to this thing, and the boys are, they're hard out drinking, doing all of that. I think I'm drinking too, and that's when Sav was there, and bro, funny thing is like I was still trying to be cool, so. When they were like, you got a ride? And I was like, all right, I'm all good. I got a ride, G, I got a ride. And they were like, are you sure? And, then, and I was like, bro, no, that's all good. And then I was like trying to get a hold of my mom to pick me up. and then my mom was like, no, you made your way there. You have to make your way back. And I was like, man, I'm in Otara, man. And then, Sav goes, bro, jump in the van. They're going to drop me off. And that's how I first met Savvy. He took me in, got the boys to drop me off home. So that's how I met Sav. But man, I just been rhyming since school, and like just taking all those, like those were opportunities when I heard about the Dawn Raid release party. Dawn Raid was they were the group, the label, for South Auckland back then. It's about being around. Everything that's gonna help you grow, build and learn.
So when you heard stuff like that, like Dawn Raid, that was the first thing in your mind, like, I want to go to that. The main reason I want to go there is so I can grow. Yeah.
So then we can learn, we can grow. We can obviously it's another, because at the time we thought we were the baddest. We weren't even established. We didn't even have a label. A big name yet, but just from our little like raps and demos, we were like, bro, these are the best, like in our eyes. We didn't go and tell people I didn't go to tell people and go, bro, I'm the baddest MC. We just thought we were the baddest. So then, that's why we were coming to Dawn Raid, because we were coming like, bro, you need to sign us up, bro. We're the baddest, but we didn't. We just came to that. We're just little kids. Chaos is another group. I don't know if you guys have heard of Chaos. They're cousins, and they were in Dawn Raid. So that's how we ended up, getting that kind of knowledge and understanding that those are the things that we need to do. Because I think they were the same age as Morocco and them, and they were already in the scene. So and we always thought, because they had a different kind of genre, like they rap, we battle rap. But that's what we did, man. We just try to go to all these. The more you put yourself out there, look at me, I was still a kid. Didn't even know how I'm getting home, but I'm gonna make an effort to get out there. And showing that we're willing to, to get amongst it. From their end, hey, these kids are trying to make a name for themselves. Even though they probably looked at us like, they're just, little rat bags, little hoodlums trying to get in there. The more persistent we were, finally they had to, kind of be like, oh man, maybe we'll give them a shot.
I think, and bro, the good thing was that you guys believed in yourself to start off with. You guys were saying that between your circle, you guys were the baddest MCs or baddest rappers out there.
So I think that's one of the main things you got to have is belief in yourself. Well, I always thought Merkel was the best from day one. Like, I used to even sometimes I hear his old rhymes and I'm like, he was a kid doing that. I'm just like, he was ahead of his time. And so when you got the best rapper in your group, you already think, we're done, we're gonna make it. I really thought, I still think to this day, like, either if he's not the number one rapper from NZ, he's in the top 3. Like that's me, hands down. That's how I would rate Morocco. And when you got him in your group, you're already gonna, right, we're the baddest, like, and so it's always good to you gotta believe in yourself, and you know, sooner or later the opportunities will, you know, come. You still got to put in hard work. I think we got kind of lucky. We had family, you know, the Chaos crew. Lucky they were already in Dawn Raid, and they kind of gave us an opening door. But I think the rest that we done is you know, is because of all our hard work from drink ups and playing freestyle. It was funny, man. Like, I mean, yeah, bro. We used to man, I think every Thursday, Friday or something, or the weekend, all our drink ups would start off with us four at Volvo's house. Would drink and then get wasted, and then sooner or later, all right, chuck on the instrumentals, and then it'll be like one line, and then one line, and we just carry it on. That's how we used to just do our own little things like that, and then anybody else was there, then they'll just jump in. But that's how we practice. That was us, you know. Like, I mean, in anything you do, besides the drinking, like, we actually would always do this, so it just becomes, man, yeah, that's just how we ended up being like good at, you know, coming up with lyrics and, you know, freestyling. Bro, we did this other show. It was called Street 68. It's like, they were like a platform. So any artist, if you're up and coming, you can go to this thing, and then they do like a show, and then all these execs come to it, and people, they come to this place, and then you perform. And it's kind of like getting your brand or your group out there. So that they were doing that, and when we were doing that, and Dawn Raid was coming to watch, we weren't in Dawn Raid at the time. So we were at Street 68. We were doing this show, and that's where we met Semantics. They were another group in Dawn Raid, and so. Bro, they came to Street 68. I don't know how they were in Street 68, but they came, and then one of the guys was saying that they're going to the first hip hop summit in New Zealand. It's, bro, first in its history, and we weren't going. We didn't even know about it. But then next minute, you know, we hear from Brother D. Is like, bro, you guys are coming down to the hip hop summit. We're flying down. But these guys, I think at the time it was Semantics. They hit. I think they were driving down or something, and we were like, "Hey, oh shucks, we like we're flying." And that was the first time I ever been on a plane too. So, you know, these are like, I'm on a plane. So, you know, flying down to Christchurch. That's where it was, and you know, first hip hop summit. That's where we finally. So we're still kids, right? I'm 16 at the time.
So still at school.
Still at school. I'm 16, and I fly to Christchurch. This is a time where there's you know, the skinheads are, because we get there and we're rolling the street, like 30 of us, 30 islanders rolling the streets, and then all these cars with like skinheads that come on, like they're like, piss off, and, you know, and we're like, everyone's like, hey, stop, jump out, G, jump out, and they just like, bro, there's like 3-4 cars, and I was like, fuck, this is for real, eh? And it's like, bro, Christchurch, man, there's skinheads down there, you know, because like you don't see that up in South Auckland and stuff, but yeah. And, but the boys, you know, they were, you know, there was like 30 of us, man, they were like keen ass, but
Bro, what was going through your head to even get like an invite to that?
Oh man, bro, I was just blown away. You gotta think, man, I'm 16, I'm still a kid. I'm still trying to pass my exams at school, and now I get to go to this. So man, I was fresh. And then when we get there, that's where we meet all the star. You know, like they still haven't. Scribe still hasn't blown up.
Yep.
He's still a young.
Oh, so he was sort of like on the same
but
level
he
as you guys?
He was about. He drops that. Have you heard of that? Scribe 2001. He drops the song. This is before it's one of his first.
Yeah.
But if you watch the video, man, you should watch it, man. It's like come a long way from digital videos, man. Like, he just raps in front of a camera. Scribe 2001.
Scribe 2001, my story just begun. You never hung in the streets where I'm from. Get ill with the lyrical, realer individual. Every syllable, every metaphorical visual. From
that hip hop summit, that's where he drops that first video.
Yeah.
But he's not really known yet, just in the hip hop community. So, you know, Scribe, and there's like foot soldiers from Wellington. Me, I'm just looking at them like, I didn't even know who they were, but now I'm like, bro, like compared to, I'm thinking my skills, their skills, I'm like, and because they've done a lot, we just thought we were bad from making, because there's so many different elements to rapping. It's like there's a different technique to recording. There's a different technique to rapping on stage, stage shows. Freestyles is another element. Like just making stuff off the top. There's different ways of how to do it. And these guys, like when Foot Soldiers came out, because if you see our first stage performances, we're like all 4 statues, and we're just like, we just like this thing, and it's like, bro, we crack up when we see it, man. It's like, bro, look at these guys, man. Now, we're all around, we back each other up, we know how to control it, but compared to our first ones, you're just standing there like, backup dancers and just doing your little routines and stuff. But when I watched these guys, man, they were just doing all of that, and we were just like, man, I was like, wow. But me, I'm just taking notes.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes. I'm like, alright, that's what you got to do, like far. So that was the good thing about the Hip Hop Summit for me. It was about taking notes, meeting up with people, different people, graph artists, different walks of life, and there was not much money in that. In fact, I didn't even think. We didn't make any money. It was just the experience.
Yeah.
So we stayed at a marae, where 40 of us in the marae, and but that's how it was, man. But it was a mean experience. Like anyone that will tell you about the Hip Hop Summit, that was the baddest.
Bro, so would you say that Hip Hop Summit was the event that got you guys thinking more? Like thinking like, oh shit, you know what? This is our breakthrough. We needed this to see what we were capable of. Yeah,
it helped us know where we were in the whole of the country.
Yeah,
like lyric wise and how we can go about music, and it kind of let us know. Shucks, we're the ones representing Auckland. So.
So you guys were sort of the only ones from Auckland?
There was. Who else was there? You got other groups, but for us, like I said, we always thought, we always thought we were the ones. So when we went down, we tried to make a name for ourselves too. And from then on, then we dropped our album. I think we dropped the album in 2000. Oh, I think the same year, 2001. Man, forgive me if I remember. I think it's 2001. Yeah, we dropped the DECEPTICONZ album around the same time, end of the year, But that would be the time where we knew that, this is the time for us. We actually got a shot to do something, and I think D and them, from their perspective too, they saw that we were hungry to do this, and that battle rap, because music does cycles. So when we came out, it was the perfect time for the style that we had. Yeah, that was the time. Like now, when you think about battle rap and stuff like that, I didn't think it's, everyone's, what's the style's drill now? There's always different. So at the time when we came out, that was the perfect wave to ride. So we had to take that opportunity, and it was good that D and them saw the opportunity as well. So they pushed forward to drop our album and stuff.
Yeah, bro, that's what I was thinking is exactly what you were saying. Like you never know, like whatever opportunity you get, you never know if that's gonna be like the one, you know what I mean? So you guys were saying, like, you guys believed in yourself that you guys were the number one, like in Auckland, you guys would represent Auckland. There would have been so many other rappers, but that's relating to what I do, like there's so many other fitness groups, so many other boot camps. But what my belief that I've always had also, exactly like you, bro, is that, what I do is unique and no one can ever sort of do what I do or what we've created, and by saying that, there's been so many challenges, there's been so many other fitness groups or boot camps that have sort of tried to bring me down, but it was like my own belief that I've always got to stay strong, and I've always like adapted to new trends and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, in saying that, bro, what would you say, like, you know, coming up the ranks and you're saying there's so many other artists, did you ever have like big challenges like that come your way?
Like, we always try to be, you know, artists, but sometimes, you know, the streets would always try and get at us.
Yeah.
You know, so that there was always like something that we always had to just stay focused, because you know, it's ego. Sometimes can be ego and pride that you're dealing with people that are always trying to bring you down, and you know, it's easy. I mean, what do you achieve once you go over there and you sort it out and you're the man? And like, what's really been achieved? You sorted it out, but you know, you don't really gain anything anyway. So yeah, it's always been hard for us. I think the best thing was just to ignore a lot of stuff and just stay focused on what the goals were, and you know, I use that in everything. You know, I mean, I tell anyone I'm close with the same kind of strategy is like, just to not worry about it, because like, I think if you're having beef with somebody, or if they're beefing with you, you're putting all your energy thinking about what they're up to, what they're doing, but what are they thinking? Like, they're probably not even thinking about you. They're probably like off to the movies, hanging out with their kids, having a nice time, but you're like constantly putting your mindset on them, which doesn't even need to be there, you know? Like, this is your plate, you got this on here, now you're trying to put more on the plate. Like, bro, just work with what you got already. Like, you know, you can't keep trying to add stuff to your plate. Or anything that takes your time away from what your goals are, shouldn't even exist. For me, I've learned, you know, like, when you fall, to not spend too much time down there. Like, you know, you're always gonna fall. You know, there's no way that you can say that, man, I'm this guy all the way. I'm just boom, increasing. You know, you're gonna have a day where you're gonna fall, but I think it's the goal is to try and learn from the last time. So, you know, like, you know, make sure that the time that you're on your knees or you're falling is not too long. It's just back up again, you know. And I think that's just the journey, is, man, just to make sure that, you know, learn from before. But if you keep falling to the same mistake, then
it's something you got to change something.
Yeah, something's got to change. You know, you got to change.
Bro, do you have like a specific like time or challenge that, you know, you would like to share with us that you went through and you overcome?
Yeah. For me, probably the drugs, eh? Yeah. Because I used to go hard on the drugs and stuff. So it was I think 2015 I stopped. Yeah. So, you know, it's been a few years now. 5 years. 5 years come September. But man, that's one of the struggles. Man, I was doing it for years. It goes hand in hand with the music industry.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. So that sort of just come about when you guys started to like get out there and become successful and whatnot.
Well, at the same time, my older brother was in a bikie gang, so, you know, he always, you know, when you're around that lifestyle, you just, because it's funny, man, when I was a kid, I was anti, so my brothers used to always smoke weed. Man, I used to be like, man, that stinks. Yeah. You know, I used to hate it. Then I got to high school, and then I think it was one of the after ball, you know, it was one of the, and somebody just goes, you know, just trying to fit in, man, you know, I was like, hey, try this, and I was like, nah, and then, you know, it just takes like a couple of the cool guys to go, bro, honestly, it's all good, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, and then next minute, you know, it just started off with weed, and, you know, but always seen drink ups, you know, the Lion Red crates, you know, all of that, going to drink ups that go to the next day. But me, I'm a kid, I'm playing add-ons on the trampoline. You know, that's the kind of thing you grow up with.
The environment you're around,
Yeah, the environment. So I was always around that, So not knowing that, you know, it's a memory, it's a trigger.
Yeah.
So I just, without even knowing, I just end up in an environment where I'm always around drugs and you know, that gang life. So that was me. I was always around that, and you know, from, you know, growing up with that, with the drugs and that, that's what ended up being, you know, it just went in with my music. I was doing ice, and bro, I did it for years, man. So I did it from 18 all the way up until I stopped in 2015. But for me, I don't try and downplay, because, you know, one smoke of that is just as bad as whether you're doing how many smokes. But I always, the way I used to look at it was always, you know, always maintained. So as long as I used to have these set of morals, so as long as I don't break these morals and this code, then I know I'm good. Because a lot of people, when they do the drugs, they start breaking all these morals. So that's when you know, bro, it's time. You need to stop. You know, you need to quit. So for me, I wasn't breaking these morals. So I always just kept doing it. And like
what morals? Like what would you have on that list?
You know, my morals would be like, don't stay up for 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, or never double cross your family. You know, things like that. Don't rip off anyone.
Yep.
You know, make sure it's, you know, it was just things like that. So whenever I did deals or anything like that, you know, I always made sure I was a legit dude. But you know, bro, in that gang life, bro, not everyone's legit. And like, bro, you know, you can't try and be like some legit businessman when you're in that life, bro. I mean, so many, but you know, like so many times, bro, you're gonna get double crossed, man. And so like, bro, now you gotta go and be that guy. You know, so there's, I guess when you're in that environment, it's just always like that. So for me, I got to a stage where it was hurting my my family. So this is why the morals, they started getting crossed off. I started breaking them. So near the end, yeah. So you know, with you know, my wife and kids, you know, not being around for them, you know, my priority was more the drugs, and then yeah, man, just everything, like work. You know, I wouldn't even turn up to work. You know, just priorities. All the priorities started going out the door. So you know, even taking the kids to school, I'd rather keep them at home because I'm too tired. Can't be bothered picking them up. So they're missing out on education. So that, you know, me doing that was just yeah, that's probably that was my biggest struggle. So when I finally gave it up, and I think, you know, I'm not here to plug you know, my Christian walk, but that's what helped me. That's the only thing that helped me to get out of that was, you know, was surrendering to, you know, Jesus Christ, because that's what helped me. You know, like there's nothing else.
But how long were you on it for? How long were you say you were addicted to drugs for, or you were doing drugs for?
What, 18, 28, 29, 30, 31, what? 12, 13, 14 years.
But that's what I was gonna say, man. For someone that does drugs for 14 years and to be able to still pick yourself up after that and still decide to quit, bro, people don't even last that long if they're doing drugs for 14 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, they're either dead or they will go to jail.
Yeah. So that's one thing. But I don't know how I didn't go to jail, and I don't know how I didn't die. Cause like, man, bro, there's so many instances where, you know, I could have been locked up. Well, I've got so many mates. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, I've got so many mates that have been locked up, and they're gone, you know, or they might be out now. But you know, they all spend time, and once you're done time, once you got drugs next to your name, it's kind of hard to do anything after that, you know. Like, bro, and that's always been my thing, man. Like, as soon as I gave it all up, I was just out there trying to talk to other people about it, telling all my bros that, you know, that I was doing the drugs with. It's like, bro, that's not the go, bro. You you know, you need to change it up. And for me, you know, I was big too, so being big and doing drugs with ice, it makes your heart kind of, you know, pump hard. You know, so you know, if you're living unhealthy, you know, I know some guys that passed away that they were unhealthy and they were doing drugs, and man, it's way easier to die that way. And so, man, that's probably one of the best things that I ever done was that. And now it's just the struggles just with the diet now.
Yeah.
So that's.
Bro, you say you finally got off it, but bro, surely there was like you said there was a lot of moments that started to make you think, like your morals and that you started to cross them out. So there would have been like that one specific moment, bro, when you were like, "Fuck, this is it. Like I have to give it up." Or
yeah, well bro, it was a massive event. It was like so when I talk about morals, that was one of them that broke. It was like with my younger brother. We had a massive fallout, and I was mad at him. We were meant to be moving, and he took off with the truck. You know, what are they? Those thrifty trucks. You know, the moving trucks. So we were supposed to be moving stuff about 9 in the morning, and the man took off around 7, and he wasn't back. He didn't come, and you know, far just man calling him up, bro. And he's like, man, I'm you know trying to do this, trying to get this. And so when he comes back, you know, he's like, he's got the drugs, and he's like, bro, I'm trying to get this, so then we'll have more energy for the move, you know. And it was like, you know, usually I would no, stuff that, but you know, I was like, oh yeah, you know, I let it slide, but I was pissed off at this dude. So for me, that man, he's got me. You know, that's when I know that the drug is more powerful than anything that I've, you know, ever come. It's got a hold of me now. My morals is gone. You know, I let this guy slide where I was pissed off. So, but now he's like, bro, and so man, boom, I'm taking the drugs. You know, my whole life I was against that, and then this one day, and I think the next day is when I stopped. I think that because we had a massive fight when we were moving, and the fight continued the next day, like full on. We were trying to kill each other. Yeah, and our whole family is watching. So my wife, our kids, my mum. And my mum came to Australia to have a better life because I told her to come over. Yeah. Australia is good, and here's us doing all this stuff. So, you know, all of my younger brother and his partner, you know, they're all watching this, and like it doesn't matter who's right or wrong at this stage. We both look like idiots. Yeah. You know, here's me going, but you know, hey, look what he did. You know, I'm trying to say this, but then I realized, bro, we both look like idiots. This whole thing, you know, look what we've done. And that vision right there, that's when I stopped. Seeing my mom cry, seeing wifey cry, seeing my little brother's missus cry, the kids crying, and the police came. You know, they called the police. But that's when that's pretty much enough is enough. Yeah, I feel like you know, God came down at that moment and was like, that's enough. And I was like, you know, it hit me. So I remember I went to try and say sorry to my mom, but my mom was like, pushed me away. She was like, you know, she didn't want to talk to me, and I was like, you know, I'm not. You know, it's this fella, you know. But that's pretty much when I knew, so I had to change.
Well, so 2015, 13 years, that goes back like right through like the peak of your guys' career.
Yeah, so I was doing drugs through my whole career. That's what I mean. Like you didn't see me have an episode. You didn't hear about, you know what I mean? So like I was maintaining, and even like when I say maintain, I didn't go out there and talk about it. Like I know all the stars that did it, but I never talked about them doing it, and they didn't know I did it. There's some artists, when I finally told them, they were like, hey, you know, they didn't know. And for me, I was like, yeah, I knew when you went with blah blah blah, you know, but I didn't. It was not, for me. It was more, you know, because I was hanging with guys that were moving the stuff. Talking is not you don't want to be known for that. So, you know, if you talk too much, but there's stuff I've done that, you know, that they just, sometimes I bring up certain things because I think, oh yeah, Father, that's something to look at and realize where I've come from.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like through the whole music scene, you know, that's your own personal, you know, your own personal struggles. So that's why, you know, through my career with the Decons, I was always kind of gonna pull away from the Decons. Like I think twice, Sav talked me into coming back twice. So, you know, you always have your own personal demons that you're dealing with, and that was mine. Drug addiction, you know, gambling, a lot of things come into play at that time. But man, yeah, like I said, once I changed, I feel like I've been living my life properly the last 5 years. Yeah. So when people talk about, man, all your achievements, then I talk about my achievements now.
Yeah.
Like that's my, like, you know, Decons, man, honestly, I'll always be in my heart. But man, I look at my achievements in the last 5 years, bro. That's my greatest achievements when I think about it. My relationship with my kids is different. Yeah. You know, I'd rather kick it with them more often, because I never did that before. You know, they were my kids, but man, like I love them, but I never really had that one-on-one relationship with my kids. Whereas now, it's more, you know, it's more hands-on. Like, you know, we talk more. You know, I've learned, you know, just through, you know, like the way I changed my life, you know, through Christ and stuff. You know, even the violence, more, these fellas, they get the long lectures now. Yeah. It's like, you know, it's like, I'm sure they just want the smacky. They just like, oh man, because that was me, man. When my mom used to do it, it's like, man, just hit me already. Yeah, man, I'm gonna sit here, man. Just hit me, man. But yeah, everything I've done now is probably, it's just as good, yeah. if not.
That's crazy, man. I wouldn't have never expected, like, for you to say something like that. You know, I've seen how, I guess to us, successful you have been in the music industry.
Yeah. And I get it, but from you know, I'm talking from an emotional, like you know, for me, when because of where I was and just my mindset of how I didn't care about a lot of things, like, and to now, like, you know, because through my whole life, I never even thought about getting a license. Like, I had a learner's through the whole time, even when I moved here, 2012 to 2015, I was like, on my learners, getting disqualified all the time. And when I got my license, you know, when I finally was like, oh man, you know what, go do the test. You know, I was like, man, I'm trying, because I wanted to do youth work.
Yeah. And
I said, what do I need? And they said, you need a full license. And I was like, damn. Okay, yeah. So, you know, like those little goals there, they mean so much to me. When I got my opens, when I got my green peas and I set the test, I've passed. And then I got my opens, man, for me that was like, bro, driving around, sharks, pull me over, bro. Come on, man. Where are they at, man? Like, just pull me over, man. Like, I couldn't wait, man. I was just like, I just wanted to, man, look, man. Shucks, check it out. I got my opens, bro. Like, before it was like always worried about, you know. But yeah, like, you know, getting my license, you know, getting my certificates in youth work. My goal was to get into youth work, and then I finally got into residential care. So like all the goals, they just, for me, I'm like, yeah, because they're towards the end goal. You know, like then I'm working in the schools, and then I met up with he's a youth pastor.
Yeah.
And he was doing the program with me. So he was doing the recording side. I was doing teaching them the you know, the lyrics and stuff, teaching them how to write, and he was doing the recording and the you know, the vocals and stuff. So I was like, oh, and then I got to meet him, and he goes, man, I said, man, I've been trying to set up my own little thing, and then just through that, he was like, bro, get all of this, and I'll teach you how to do all of that. And so for me, I was like, bro, it's just opening doors. So now I've got all the equipment, and so now I'm learning, like all these years I could have been learning how to be a producer and stuff like that, but I just stayed strong with the raps. But now I'm learning the other side, because if I think about it, I can run the program, I can run a whole program, I can do the vocals and then record the kids as well, and then create some sort of program there, because I find that the kids, what I learned from the 4 weeks that I did it was that the kids, they learn to have an outlet for their emotions. So sometimes, kids, they just bottle a lot of things up, and through rap and through expressing yourself in music is another way to, have an outlet for it, because, nothing worse than bottling all that stuff inside and then it just coming out. And, usually kids, the way they express is like, through smashing walls and breaking stuff. But if they can find an outlet through music, and even that, so when I was doing that with the kids, I started thinking about me, and I was like, man, that's how I was, like I used music as an outlet. Like I had a lot of things that were going on, and it was the best way to express your anger, or just to express your feelings, and then and then to actually have a product, some music, and then get good at it, that's just a bonus. So I just feel like, things have been happening, they're moving into place, and just working towards the goal of like, helping, giving back to the youth, because I think the message that the kids are getting these days is a lot of, so to me it's a lot of violence and, things that are, I'm not blaming actual groups that are out there, but I'm blaming social media, just the way they, what they glorify and the way they put stuff out there, and these kids are, they're really, trying to live that. Whereas a lot of our kids, man, like we try to give them a different life. We came from all of that, and we're trying to get them away. So some of these kids, man, they're choosing to do that. Yeah. Like if my son tried to do that, if my son tried to, be like do his shanks and whatever, try to be a driller, I'll be like, bro, I'll be like, man, you live in a nice house, you have no problems, you get fed, you get clothed, man, you get everything you want. So why would you live in Forest Lake, bro. Like, you got a good life, man. You want to know hood, man, we can go and do that stuff. But, that's why we moved here. That's why we're trying to get away from all that stuff. So I think the youth, they really need some positive role models out there that can really help them to, understand, the feelings they go through, because there's a lot of suicide. Obviously, there's a lot of suicide and stuff. So I think it's not just rap, man. You can do fitness for kids. There's different avenues. Rap is just one. That's just one way of reaching out to the youth. Obviously, there's going to be other programs, and I think when it comes to programs, I think everybody just needs to, understand their worth, and that we're all interconnected some way or another, like we're all trying to better and help each other.
No, that's buzzy, bro. From what you've been through, just your whole life story, bro. It sounds like you could make a movie out of it.
I know. I think I said too much information. I might have to cut a lot. I might have to sit with you in the editing, bro.
That's like we were saying. Like anything that we do, we'll send it through. If you need to cut anything, cut.
Man, some of the stories here, I was like, wow, because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Nah, bro, I've been enjoying just listening to your story, bro. But, like, bro,
Bro, I was gonna tell you about Ray Siffel. So we were in the States. Bro, this dude's balling, bro. And we were in the States, and he what was it? Oh yeah, so we were living in LA, but we were staying in this flash hotel. That's what I was thinking. Hey, like some of the stuff I didn't get it. I didn't get how we were staying in this flash hotel for a week. So, and that's just what the label did.
What do you mean you didn't get it? Like why you? Did you feel like what you were doing wasn't good enough to get you there?
Well, I'm just trying to think, bro, because I'm trying to process it, man. I'm like, bro, we were living in New Zealand, and when we did shows, not all the time, wasn't all the time we had flash hotels. Like, you know, there's a budget, you know. So sometimes if we know how much we're getting, I knew how much we get paid, so that's how I calculated. So now I'm over there, and I know we're staying here, and I'm just thinking, we're in Hollywood, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, is this for real, man?
Yeah.
Like, Sad must be killing it. So, you know, we're cruising down, and we're going to meet up with Ray Siffel, because Ray Siffel's, he's starring in a movie or something. He's going to star in a movie. Yeah. So we meet up in Hollywood. So we're like at this restaurant, and bro, all I'm thinking is, because bro, you know, when the bill, because some of these restaurants, I'm just, because Andy's already saying, hey, we're going 3 ways, boys, and I'm already like, bro, you better not eat much, bro. or you know, and then bro, like, I was mean when the rich dudes, like the stars, really come through, like, bro, massive table, everyone's eating, and I'm just like, shucks, how much is this? And I'm just trying to calculate. It's like, dang, that's my whole pay. Like, you know, I'm just thinking. Or when you're ordering, I'm trying to order I'm like trying to look down, bro, all these 40, 50s, and I'm like, shucks, and the 20s and that, they're just like entree or something. So I was like, I can't have an entree, so, you know, bro, but it's mean when, like, Ray Siffel, I think he just wanted to hang out because, bro, it's you know, he hasn't seen the boys, because I think Andy and them used to go when he was doing the K1 in Japan. Yep. So they used to always support Ray when they used to go over, and so it's just another, you know, he just flew out from Vegas because he lives in Vegas, and just to see us. And at the same time, he had a business, you know, opportunity with the movie, so he had meet up with someone else, him and his agent, and then we just caught up, and then we're having lunch, and then bro, next minute, he's like, hey boys, don't worry about it, I got it. And then it's just like, you know, these four. I was like, hey, no, hey, just leave it, I got it, boys, on the house. And it's just like, Ray Siffel, the man. But he was really rich. He definitely had money, because, bro, we went out with us one night. So we go out, and then we could go to this club. So we've gone out. We've had, we're going out, and then we go to this other club. We get in, it's all good. And then we're going to go to this other club, and it's packed. It's a massive line. And, but then when we come, they say, hey, because it's all islanders, this group of islanders. And so the security's like, hey, just to let you know, you're going to have to buy 4 bottles, and you can only have the VIP area. It costs about $4,000. They see something like that. I think they said it because
they thought you wouldn't be able to pay for it.
They thought we wouldn't be able to pay for it. Yeah. So we were like, they were like, sweet. I was like, nah, yeah. And then, bro, Ray Siffel comes, and he's like, what's the problem? And then they're like, I was just letting them know that to get in, you're gonna have to pay for 4 bottles. I think a bottle, but even though it's, you know, the Moe, it's only like $50, $60 or something. But bro, when they do bottle service, it's like $500 a bottle. Wow. So he already said, he goes, you're gonna need to buy 4 bottles, and you're gonna have to hire the VIP area. Bro, and then he goes, Ray just goes, and that's, you know, he's a bit angry, and then next minute he just goes, just walks back, and then he comes back and goes, yeah, we'll get it then. And then he was like, hey, and he goes, yeah, we're gonna get it. And then then the security's like, hold on, let me just speak to my manager. And then the manager comes back, and then he's like, actually, that was my bad. The man's not allowed in the shorts. says, brought up another thing, and bro, that's when he was like, he just goes, oh, I see. So it's because we're Polynesians, and the dude, and he goes, yeah, bro, he's about to knock this dude out, where everyone's like, no, Ray, you got a career, bro, you got a, and he was like, man, I shall put you to sleep, and the security thinks he's hard, and I'm just like, bro, just let him, man, just let him unleash on this guy, bro, and then, we just end up, in the States, they like to do dine-outs, because clubs close at 12.
Diners and stuff.
Yeah, they always end up at a diner at the end. Bro, all these islanders, and then, Ray does it again. It's like, no, on me, boys. So we're just like...
Damn.
And, bro, I got to cruise with him too. So
did you know Ray before?
Nah, not personally, nah. But when we're driving around, so we have to go in people's rides. So I end up in his ride. Bro, I'm with him and I think it's his manager. It's his manager or agent, I don't know. But we're going past this car yards. But it's like, the professional, it's the Audi ones, the Maserati and all that. And he's like, he goes, man, I need that. And then, he's like, man, you can definitely get that. And he's like, because of and he was talking about all his cars and all this stuff, and then I was just like, fuck. And he was like, man, you can get a 2 one day. And I was thinking, yeah, you're right. I was like, man, I feel like if Sav sells,
But in saying that, and they say when you start to get like successful, you start to grow, you start to meet people with that other successful people.
Yeah.
But you reckon you would have met all of those people if it wasn't for your rap?
Yeah. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have met these people. So, if I knew what I know now, like how
you would have taken more of an advantage of everything you had.
Yeah, I would have approached it differently. Yeah. But I still remember, he gets props for this. Andy gave me a book years ago, and he goes, bro, you need to read this. And it was that the How to Influence Friends.
Oh
yeah.
I've seen that book before.
So he showed me that years ago, and I was like, oh yeah. Opened it, closed it. That's what happened to that book. And then I read it 2015. So I read it then, and I was reading it and I was like, fuck, I should have read this back then, because that's why he was so successful. He's really driven the way he was. When we were in the States, he always talked about, even the book talk about the other person, let them talk, and talk about them more. So he would, and that's how you would win them over. So he would, I remember we went to this big thing in, what was it? Houston. So we went to a massive, what's the awards? BET Awards. There's BET Awards and there's another one.
Music, was it a music hip hop? The MTV thing?
Nah, it was BET and another one. Oh, fuck. We went to this one, bro. All every rapper's there.
Yeah.
Rick Ross, all of them. They're all there. And so, I don't know, bro. This, like I said, the A&R team for the record label, this is their suggestions that we go to all these things. So we went to this big, Young Jeezy was there. Yeah. Everyone was there. And that's where there was a fight. I think it was, what's his name? Mike Jones. Do you remember Mike Jones?
Yeah, Mike Jones.
Yeah. So Mike Jones and this other fella that was saying he was the king of Houston. What's his name? Oh, anyway, Mike Jones and this fella, because we're up the top, we got the cheap seats, but we're at the top, and I looked down, and then, bro, it's all the stars are all in the front, now down the bottom, and then you just see this massive entourage just going at it, and it's like, oh, what's that, man? And these two artists are having a fight and stuff, and that you guys seen Vlad TV, right?
What's that?
Vlad, he's it's real popular now. Back then, so on that time, that's where Rick Ross found him, and bro, allegedly, smashed him in the elevator
Yeah.
because Vlad was putting up stuff. Because he puts up content that it's like a lot of snitching stuff or stuff that he just causes drama. So he put up stuff saying that Rick Ross was a security guard. And so, that was like the big no-no because especially if he says he's the big drug dealer.
Yeah.
So,
is that how it started?
yeah, so he put up stuff and then apparently, Vlad was coming out the elevator and then Rick Ross was there and then, bro, he got sassed. But, yeah, man, we were always around. Yeah. I met this, bro, there was this other bro, he was like a superstar. Oh, like, people were like, bro, he's the man. Bro, the man had no arms. He had a small arm, bro. It's funny because when you're doing a handshake, bro. So man, it was like, bro, what's up, man? Gee, and then bro, the man comes in, bro. He's got the little stubby thing, and he's like, hey man, what's up, man? And he comes up to me, bro. You don't know what to grab, bro. And I was just like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, my dude? And then and then like everyone's doing things, bro. Everyone's like, yeah man, that's cool, man. Like, yeah. And it's like, yeah man, good to meet you, bro. Good to meet you. And then they walk off and then we're just like, bro, me and Sam's like, bro, what did you grab? He's like, bro, what did you grab? And I was like, bro, I don't know what I grabbed, bro. Yeah, it is, bro. But this dude's a millionaire because
what was he? Was he rap or was he like motivational speaker?
He ended up being in the rap industry. He was a big name. He invested in a lot of stuff in the music industry. So yeah, I forgot what his name was, man. I don't know.
I was just going for the hug, bro. It's a straight hug.
Nah, but yeah, he was a millionaire, bro. So apparently, what happened? Because I was like, how do you? And they were like, nah, because he was an electrician or something, and went to go and do some whole times. Blew his arms off, yeah. So, well, he's still alive, but yeah, his arms. But that was him, bro. Mean ride, man, driving around. Straight up his ride, bro. Honestly, it was like bro, it was like the latest Hummer, bro, rims, bro, everything. Bro, the man was just, and this is Houston, so it's all that down south. Yeah. Bro, and he's just like, but there was heaps of characters,
bro, just to be
Houston.
Man, this is just being, I just imagine how you guys would have been feeling at those awards, like being surrounded by, bro, all the rappers.
And at the same time, bro, like, there was for me, there's a safety thing too. I always felt, because America, there's always people getting killed, shot. Like, we watch the news all the time. And it was always people getting shot all the time. So, at the same time, we had no security. We did have security sometimes. We had security when we went to Houston. Two of the bros came with us. But most of it was just us. So I had to be the security guy. So yeah, most of the time, man, it was hard to be yourself.
Yeah.
Like I love being happy and
but you still had
connecting.
To be sort of thing.
I had to because couldn't let them think otherwise that it was easy money. Dudes will like rob you and stuff. So we always had to act like. But yeah, man, nobody tried. Nah, it was good, man. Like, and plus we didn't try and get ourselves. I think only one time I got myself in a situation where I shouldn't have been. Was bro, this is a funny one, man. Like, I think this one, yeah, man. Like, bro, I'm drinking in New York and in Brooklyn, and I come out of the. Bro, funny thing is, Young Sid's there, so me and him were drinking. So because Young Sid was Kirk Harding is part of a label too. Yeah. He's part of Republic at the time. I can't remember, but so Young Sid's over there for his own thing, and we're staying in the same building. So once I hear Young Sid's there, man, let's go now. I don't know why, but me and him, when we're down there, we just kind of, man, he's talking about his thing, I'm talking about my thing, but I'm getting wasted. And so, bro, next minute we're just like, bro, South Auckland, what, bro? You know? And then I don't know what he does, but you know, I just remember leaving that bar because our apartment's upstairs and there's a bar downstairs, man. It's just like walk out, boom, go to the bar. So we got that, and then I walk off, and I'm just like, man, and bro, straight up. So they don't look like luxury apartments, but where we're staying is it's 4,000. It costs 4,000 a month to stay there. So and it's not even, it's a 1-bedroom apartment. So you know, me and Sava kind of put the dividers up, and Andy's got a bookcase, and he's just made the section in the lounge into his room. And bro, it's ridiculous. Anyway, across the road is the projects. So you know, in every nice suburb there's projects.
Yeah.
If you look from the sky, man, you'll see like they all look the same. These project buildings, and that's where all the less fortunate, because it's free rent.
Yeah,
it's free. You just got to pay for power. So that's pretty much it. But you know, obviously all the drug dealers, gangsters, and all that live in these apartments. So yeah, I'm walking out, man, and I remember seeing somebody was yelling something, and I was just like, what? I said, what, bro? And he was like, no, I'm good, man. And I was like, hey, it's all up. Just being wasted, bro. And then I walked to the shop, like, oh, that's where I was going to get some smokes, man. So I was like walking down, and then I head off to get some smokes. Bro, just when I get there, bro, this car pulls up, boom. And then these two dudes, bro, undercovers, but I didn't know at the time. So they just pop out, and they just like, bro, then they pull the guns on me, and I'm just like, oh, bro, all the toughness is gone, bro. All the toughness is gone, bro. They both pull guns and they're like, get on the wall. And then when they say get on the wall, I'm like, I'm kind of happy because I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's not gangsters, it's undercovers. Yeah. So yeah, man, and I'm just like, they got me on the wall, and bro, as funny as they're like, yeah, he fits the description. And I'm just like, hey, and then I get, bro, I'm from New Zealand, bro. Not pull the New Zealand card hard. But I was just like on the wall, and they were like, no, that's them. He fits the description. And then I was just like, bro, I just didn't even move, and I just go, bro, I'm from New Zealand. And I said, my passport's in the back, and then grab it out of my pocket, check my passport, and then just like, bro, and then I hear something on the radio, it's like, shh, da, 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 and then he's like, okay, yeah, we gotta go, boom, bro, jump in the car, gone. Bro, like that, don't even know. And like nothing happened, man. Bro, and it's just like, bro, did that happen? Like I go back, like there's no record of it, you know what I mean? Like there's no paperwork that said that this happened. So I'm just going back to the thing. Bro, I'm not even talking about South Auckland now when I'm cruising back. When I cruise back, I just go, I say, yes, bro, I'm pretty tired, eh, boys? But I tell them, bro, you wouldn't believe it, bro. These undercovers just pulled me up, man.
Because they'll start crying.
But bro, that's why everybody's like pissed off about these days, because it happens to people all the time.
Well, you know, bro, as I was saying that, I was just thinking about what's been going on now. Bro, look at that. Like, he just told me I fit the description. And like, all day I just came out of their bar, and like what if I, you know, and I was under the influence. What if I just turned around or something, and then boom, you know, like, bro, that's the end. That's why I was, man, you know, one of my fears of when I stayed in the States was like dying there. I was like, hell no, I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna at least make it back. I was like, I don't want to be known for one of those guys that came here on tour and died over here. So like, whenever we were in situations, I always would make sure that, you know, safety was the first thing with Sav and that. So like, yeah, it would always be like, oh no, we can't do this, you know. Some of the boys were, man, some of the boys like to go, we gotta go to Inglewood, we gotta go, oh, I wasn't keen. I was like, I don't need the Inglewood photo, bro. Like, man, like, but you know, people think, you know, they're just like, yeah, all good, but man, you know, like, we were hanging at places. I think one time we hung at a spot where the boys were telling me this is the alleyway that Mexicans used to come down the side. They just pop shots off and use everyone just running. It's a long alleyway. You know those alleyways you see on the movies? Yeah. So
You've been there to take a photo or something?
nah, well we went there to go and catch up with one of the boys, and like, you know, but some of the boys are outside drinking on the van, and I'm just like, I'm drinking with them, but I'm just like, man, nah, I'm not feeling the same. I'm already looking at exits, like, I'm like, can I scale that fence? I'm just thinking, because it's either coming that way or that way. It's only, yeah. And so cars would come up, and then they'll roll back out. You know, just stuff like this. Like, man, you know, all of that stuff. I'm just like, bro, I ain't trying to go out like that, man. Like, especially some of the boys will tell me how all the homies died. Tongan dudes, Samoan dudes. Yeah, you know, so they you know, they live their life. They you know, and on my last day, one of the trips, on my last day there, I wanted to buy some shoes, and so one of the Tongan boys, he's a TCG, and he took me out there, and he goes to me, bro, we gotta be far, we gotta be fast, and I was like, he goes, yeah, because this is Mexican territory, and I was like, hey, and he goes, nah, but you really need the shoes. You know, he goes, but you wanted the shoes, right? You wanted to take some shoes back, and I said, bro, I'm not that desperate for it. Bro, so I'm in the shop, man. I'm like, bro, I'm searching fast, man. I'm like, man, I'll grab those. I'll just grab those. You know, like, I'm just trying to buy them fast. Cause man, I ain't trying to stick around, break, jump back in the, and bro, this is in LA too, but the checkout, everyone's speaking Mexican. So I was like, hey, did I just go to Mexico? It's like, wow.
Fuck, bro, that's crazy, man.
But yeah, with everything that's going on with the whole, yeah, man, like the police and that, yeah, man, one of the main things here was trying to get home and not get caught up in all that, because, yeah, you know, you always see that stuff over there.
Bro, that sounds, bro, you can make a movie out of your life, bro, straight up. But I just want to finish up, we'll finish it up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but, bro, like you're saying, like you wish you could have, like, I guess, taken more advantage of the gift that you had.
Yeah.
But what would be your main advice, you know, if someone was in a situation like you know, I guess being successful, but you know, what could be some main advice that you would give to someone just to keep going, man, and keep pursuing their dream, to take it to a whole nother level?
Yeah. Yeah, my main advice with anyone that's, you know, pursuing their dream would be to, man, just to make sure that, you know, you believe in yourself and believe what you're doing. You have to believe in what you're doing, first of all. If you know, it's just like anything. If you don't believe in the, you know, the products or anything that you're doing, then there's no reason to really do it. You're not going to give it your full, you know, you're not going to put your full potential into it, or you're not going to go at it hard out. So I think you got to believe in yourself first, and it's just man, it's just, you know, start off with small goals. You know, it's just building into the bigger goals. I think, you know, with every big goal that you have, what I've found for myself that I could have applied, you know, before was, I always have that main end goal, but it was all these little goals that I tried to achieve first that made the end goal much more easier to get. So I think for people that are trying to, you know, achieve whatever they're trying to do is, yeah, you've got the big goal ahead of you, but try and have little small goals first, just to make it easier. And I think it's also, man, surrounding yourself with the right people. You know, like, you know, people that are like-minded, people that believe in you as well. Make sure your team believes in you, the people around you believe in you. And then, also, making sure you got the right team, and man, just making sure you got a passion and a drive for it, and just to be consistent, man. I think, that's something that we all can try and do, is be consistent. And, we might not get it every day, but try and be consistent, as much as you can. Man, just be happy, man. Just smile, man. Just be positive. I think, sometimes we can get real serious with our goals, but man, just be happy about it, man. I think, people think it's, you can't just love everyone every day, but man, I think you can, I think, just to show love to everyone. I think a lot of, with everybody that's trying to do things, I think the worst thing that a lot of our people do is bring each other down. As much as we try and say that we uplift each other, I think there's too much of people doubting other people's, whatever business they run, or whatever talent they have. I think there's too much of that. So I think, people just need to uplift each other, That's the whole, what is that, the victorious?
We didn't tell them to say it.
That's just a plug for your. Nah, but yeah, man. I just think I think there's a lot of reasons why we need to help each other, uplift each other, because there's enough for all of us. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to not going against. I'm not trying to put Polynesians in a different boat, but I mean, just our people in general, we're always like that. But there's enough for all of us to all succeed. We can all succeed, man. So, and I think we can all help each other. So I think that's that's the goal for anyone, man. Is like is do all of that stuff for yourself, while acknowledge other people too. I think just love and being happy, and just just enjoying what you're doing. Have a passion for what you're doing. Once you lose that passion, I think, man, there's you need to try and ignite it again. You need to try and find the reason, the why, and whatever it is. If you're like with Victorious, or just with whatever it is. Like for me, if I lose the passion in it, I'm always trying to go back to what was the mission statement.
Yeah.
What was the statement that started it all off? You got to go back to that and find the drive in that, and bring it, reignite it. So I think that's what, that's for anyone that's trying to, trying to succeed in whatever they're doing.
It was solid. Well, man, thanks a lot for coming along, sharing your story, sharing some advice and tips for everyone out there. I think, bro, that's it, I think we got everything.
That was me, bro.
That was me, bro. I could sit here, how we were talking before, we're like, bro, next minute, 2 hours later.
I know. That's the time, because my phone's off here. I was like, hey.
Bro, I honestly could just sit here and listen to you talk, bro.
Wow. Bro, I was like, man, there was all these other stories over there, but nah.
No, we'll be back for part 2. Nah, bro, I really appreciate it, bro.
Nah, all good, bro.